Hey everybody, welcome back to a special edition of the Sunday Rewind. Arizona had an early game, a little early if you're on the West Coast. Now getting into the evening on the East Coast in Florida, where there was some rain. Things look like maybe they could potentially be an okay game for Arizona, and then it quickly went the other way, and Arizona falls to UCF 56-12. Wow, what a game in terms of things that could go wrong. It was like pick your choice of what you think could go wrong, what could go wrong. Arizona had it all seemingly in that game. Troy, let's just get your general thoughts on what we watched because, man, it wasn't good.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say this is the poorest performance, most poorly executed game plan from beginning to end for Arizona all season. And really, it's the worst performance Arizona football's had since they were in the middle of a 20-plus game losing streak under someone and Coach Fish as well. From beginning to end, this game wasn't very close. Central Florida missed a field goal to open up its first drive. But outside of that, it was a torrential downpour, and Arizona's defense had no answers. Arizona's offense at one point in the first quarter had negative yards. They finished with, I believe, 20 yards for the first quarter. Whatever went wrong did, and it was clear this coaching staff had no answer to what was going on the football field.
And you look at just the stats, and it's pretty remarkable because you have UCF going for over 600 yards total, over 300 yards rushing, and you look at Arizona's rushing total, and it's not even into double digits. They had 5 rushing yards total in this game. Do you look at that more than you look at the defense? Because I know, looking at Dwayne Aquina at points in the game, it was like he didn't have any answers. There was just nothing. You saw him on the sideline, and he was, usually he's very much, fired up and ready to go. And it was just like, there was nothing there. What did you think? Do you put this on the offense? Do you put this on the defense? What is the culprit of how they played? Because it really looked like a much different team. As much as Arizona's had its struggles this season, this felt like a much different team that we were seeing today.
Yeah, I don't necessarily blame the defense when you're on the field 80% of the time. Eventually, you're going to crack, and eventually, to be honest, you're going to give up. And it felt like they just gave up defensively out there on the football field today. And so you point to the head coach. Culture starts with the head coach, and this team flat out gave up out there on the football field today. Whatever went wrong did, and it seemed like they really didn't know what to do, and they just wanted to get the hell out of Orlando today. And offensively, it's been the same old story all season long. So you point to the head coach, the lack of preparation for the game, and things need to change. I think that's the bottom line and takeaway from this game, especially as the offense goes. If you do the same stuff and try to do the same stuff during the off season and the same regimen and routine, you're going to have the same results. Things need to change up on the offensive side of the ball.
Was there any bright spot for you? I know, Tetro McMillan's touchdown catch was pretty awesome. He had that one-handed kind of tip to himself. Are there any bright spots or anything that you can kind of build on positively from this game if you're Arizona going into a bye week?
No, not at all. Honestly, the one bright spot, I guess, is that you weren't at home and recruits weren't at the stadium watching the game. Obviously, they were still watching the game live on TV. You saw recruits shaking their head on Twitter in terms of Gio Richardson from Basha. So recruits did see it. But outside of that, there aren't any bright spots. Tetro McMillan did what he does, and he's going to be a top 5 first-round draft pick, top 10 pick, and he's a phenomenal player. But from beginning to the end, this is just a stinker of a game for Arizona. And really, it's been a disappointing season. And this game just seems to be the culmination of what's been going on the whole entire season. And I think you have to change things offensively. You can't do the same stuff and expect different results. And it's clear that this team kind of gave up out on the football field, and things need to change quickly if you expect Arizona to be any sort of winning program moving forward.
That felt like the biggest concern to me was that for the first time, maybe really all season, it just didn't look like a team that had any enthusiasm. And that's tough. And that's, you expect that to hit at some point in a season like this where things just haven't gone according to plan. but it hadn't yet. And, Dwayne Keenan talking during the week kind of mentioned that and alluded to that like, hey, don't give up on the staff because the players haven't given up on one another and they haven't given up on us. And there had been a feeling of like, oh no, everyone's still kind of pulling the rope in the same direction. And you just didn't get that sense today. And that's tough. That's tough because you can still make a bowl game. You have to win from here on out, but you can still make a bowl game. There is still something to play for, but it's not a good sign to have your team looking like it did out there today. As you kind of assess it, it sounds like I maybe know the answer to this one, but is this a one-off in your opinion, or is this just a culmination of everything that was kind of coming this way and headed this way? And now it kind of begins a real kind of downslide spiral for this team. Or do you think there's any chance that they can rebound and kind of regroup and get things going in the right direction, even a little bit the rest of the way?
Yeah, no, I don't know if they win a game the rest of the season and you have Houston on your schedule, which is mind-boggling to think about with how bad Houston's been this season. But this is a culmination of what's kind of been building up this season in this downpour of a season. And, you hope that things turn around, but I don't see it getting any better for Arizona. And I think the one thing you're looking at is that Territorial Cup. Can you win that game? If you could do that, maybe there's a little, light at the end of the tunnel. But this has been, without a doubt, the most horrific season you could have had after having a 10-3 season with a lot of your roster coming back.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom that it's gone this way for Arizona because they were coming off such a good season. Yes, you didn't have everybody back, but you had some very important pieces back. You've been hit with some injuries, and that's been tough. But they're heading into a bye week. Bye weeks can change some things. I'm pretty sure the last time they had a bye week, they changed some things in terms of, operationally and calling plays and who's calling those plays and those types of things. It feels late in the season to be having coaching changes, but obviously UCF went out there and fired their defensive coordinator, changed their offensive play caller. Do we think there's any kind of operational changes within what Brent Brennan does to kind of get this team regrouped and ready to go for the final stretch of the season?
I wouldn't be shocked if we saw on Monday morning or Tuesday morning Dino Babers step down as offense coordinator at Arizona and be looking for a new job after this season. Now, I say that in terms of I wouldn't be shocked if it happening, but do I think it's going to happen? No. Dino and Brent Brennan go back a long time. I think they believe in one another, but I think it's clear the offensive playbook doesn't work. The scheme doesn't work. The rhythm of the play calling doesn't work. I know he's not the play caller anymore, but it's still his playbook. Dino Babers needs to go. I think that's the bottom line that you've seen this season is the game has passed him by.
Well, I guess we'll just finish it there. But at this point, obviously for Arizona, man, things have really just not gone the way they wanted him to go, what they expected him to go. Brent Brennan looked, very downtrodden after that game, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great demeanor from really anybody. You wouldn't expect anybody to have great demeanor after a game like that, but there's still things to be played for, and I think that's something that will be very interesting to watch as Arizona goes into this bye week. You have to figure there's going to be some kind of something to shift this team because, again, you could still make a bowl game. You could still at least play for something, and to kind of give up right now would be tough. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what that looks like. We'll for sure have some more with looking over this game and I'm sure assessing things during the bye week with our next podcast. So be on the lookout for that and be on the lookout for all of our coverage from this game. And thanks for joining us.